The female lead, Chloe, witnessed the entire process of my arrival in this world. She also knew the system's mission for me, to win her over, no matter the cost. So she looked down at me with an arrogant smirk. From now on, you're my dog. As your master, I command you to donate your kidney to my brother. Her brother? Really? Why did the system describe him as her first love, the one she could never have? It turns out he's her adopted brother, no blood relation at all. Not that it mattered. When faced with a scumbag's ridiculous provocations, you just have to fight back. Kick the guys, slap the girls, and don't forget the damn system. Drag it out and beat the crap out of it. I cut Chloe off mid-thought. I'm not donating my kidney. With that, I turned to leave, but a warning from the system flashed in my mind. Host, I brought you to this world for one reason, to win over Chloe. You must gradually earn her goodwill and, eventually, her love. I scowled. Is a woman's love supposed to be some grand prize? You want me to give everything I have, not for money or power, but for a woman's fickle affection? You think I'm an idiot, but just look at her, host. Chloe is truly beautiful, isn't she? I glanced back at Chloe, whose eyes held a look of smug contempt. I'm not the first person you've had sent here, am I? I asked. Chloe raised a delicate eyebrow. You catch on quick. So what happened to the others before me? Are they all dead? Chloe didn't answer. She just took a long drag from her cigarette, a cruel, amused smile playing on her lips. I stepped forward, snatched the cigarette from her fingers, and crushed it out between my thumb and index finger. Chloe froze for a second, then slowly exhaled a plume of smoke right in my face. Interesting, she purred. They're all dead, aren't they? After all, completing the mission is the only way back to my own world. Since no one has managed to win Chloe's love, the mission is still active, but the previous guys are gone. In that case, host, all you have to do is, shut the hell up. I snarled at the system in my head, turning my gaze back to lock onto Chloe. She seemed lost in some pleasant memory, a faint smile gracing her lips as she began to speak. One of them fell madly in love with me the moment he arrived. When he realized he could never have me, he jumped off a building. Another reluctantly became my boy toy and eventually died of depression. One served me with all his talents, only to die a miserable death from sickness after I had wrung him dry of all his worth. One did my dirty work for me, so I had him silenced. And another one fought me with everything he had, but in the end, he had no choice but to submit. After endless torture, he finally kicked the bucket just last week. When she finished, she gave me a taunting look. Let's make a bet. Let's see how long you last before you're on your knees, begging me to spare you a shred of affection. A crazed excitement lit up her eyes. Given your pathetic display so far, a day? What's the matter? Are you not expecting to live past tomorrow? Why the rush? I shot back. A sharp, piercing alarm blared from the system in my head. After half an hour of trying and failing to reason with me, its tone finally shifted. If you refuse to get back on track and start earning Chloe's goodwill, I will be forced to take compulsory measures. What kind of measures? I looked up at the small, glowing orb that represented the system, and a searing pain shot through my entire body. An electric shock. Host, that was merely the lowest level. If you continue to be this stubborn, it never finished its sentence. I had already bolted into the bathroom in the master suite, slammed the door, and locked it. I reached into my own mind, grabbed that glowing orb of light, and yanked it out in front of me. Without a word, I hauled back and punched it. A shriek echoed through my head. A triumphant grin spread across my face. So you can feel pain. You can actually feel pain. Before I could finish, another jolt of electricity, more agonizing than the last, ripped through me. Without hesitation, I hammered the orb with 5 more punches. It retaliated by shocking me 4 more times during my assault. The pain contorted my face every time, but no matter how much it hurt, I kept my fist clenched and my mouth shut, just pounding away at the orb. You'd better kill me with this electricity right now, I growled. Because as long as I'm still breathing, I'm going to beat you to death. I punctuated the sentence with 3 more punches. Let's see who gives out first. I wasn't the top dog at MIT for nothing. You might be a powerful system, but I, Ethan, earned my reputation. After 4 hours of this stalemate, during which I beat it unconscious 3 times, the damn system finally surrendered. I was wrong. I was wrong. I never should have brought you here. I'll send you back right now. You dare. I snarled, holding up the now dim and flickering orb. Send me back? So you can just grab another innocent guy to be Chloe's new chew toy? Let her torture him and get off on his begging and dying. I paused, then asked in a chilling voice, do you know how many cuts it takes to perform a death by 1,000 cuts? 3,357, the system answered instinctively. and you'll feel every single one. I pulled a small utility knife from my pocket and feinted a jab at the orb, making it shudder violently. As weak as it was, it still managed to beg for its life. I won't send you back. I promise. I really won't, sir. Fine, I said, moving the knife a little further away. From now on, you call me boss. Understood. Ho, boss. And you won't breathe a word of this to Chloe. Don't worry, boss. The system can only interface directly with its host. Aside from the initial handover, no one else in this world can see or hear me. Good. Now, give me all the information you have on Chloe and that brother of hers. And I mean everything. I'll donate the kidney to your brother. I stood before Chloe, hands shoved in my pockets, one of them secretly clutching the system orb. I put on my most defeated expression. A smug, triumphant smile spread across her face, as if everything was going according to her plan. She set down her wine glass and glanced nonchalantly at her watch. 5 hours. You've lasted longer than any of the others. She lazily raised a hand and gave 3 slow, deliberate claps, a mocking parody of applause. Her lips were curled in a contemptuous sneer. Kneel, little man. You've finally earned the right to be my dog. But you're not qualified to be my master, I said, my voice cold. I agreed to donate a kidney, not my dignity. I'm not selling my soul, so you can drop the high and mighty act, Chloe. It's disgusting. My undisguised revulsion clearly took her by surprise. She swirled the red wine in her glass, silent for a moment before a knowing smile bloomed on her face. Switching up your strategy, are we? She stood up, her 5'9" frame creating an imposing presence as she closed the distance between us, invading my personal space. Playing hard to get, trying to get my attention. She reached out and playfully tapped the tip of my nose, nodding with a small smile. I'll admit, your little game is starting to work, boss. Her goodwill towards you just went up. It's gone from negative to 10%. This is a great start, the system chirped in my head, sounding hopeful that it might complete its mission by accident. Annoying, I muttered impatiently. I pushed Chloe away, pulled out a sanitizing wipe, and scrubbed the tip of my nose a dozen times before turning to leave. Don't contact me until the surgery is scheduled. I needed this time to plan my next move. But Chloe was incapable of taking a hint. She knew I had just appeared in her husband's body and had nowhere else to go, yet she insisted on moving back into this mansion in Beverly Hills, a place she hadn't set foot in for nearly 2 years. Having to see her around the house was like swallowing a fly that insisted on buzzing relentlessly in my face. Sir, Miss Chloe cooked for you herself today, the butler announced, rushing upstairs with a look of pleasant surprise. I shot up in bed. She didn't poison the food, did she? Boss, Chloe's goodwill just went up by 5 points. She's secretly pleased. The system chimed in, as unhelpful as ever. You just had to say something, didn't you? I shot a mental glare at the system, and it immediately went silent. I made a point of coming downstairs a full half-hour late. At first, Chloe seemed amused, as if I were just playing hard to get, but after 5 minutes, her patience was clearly wearing thin. Boss, goodwill down 10 points. Boss, goodwill is back to 0. Boss, goodwill is in the negative. She's about to flip the table. With each update from the system, I glanced at my watch, carefully noting Chloe's tolerance levels. Her limit was exactly 30 minutes. Pathetic. Shaking my head at her lack of patience, I finally went downstairs just before she lost it completely and took a seat at the far end of the long dining table. Her face was grim, and she ate in stony silence. I mirrored her, eating my own meal without a word. She kicked the table in frustration, making the solid oak structure tremble, but I didn't even look up. I just started eating faster. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Chloe had smashed her bowl. I felt a surge of irritation. I had no idea who this childish tantrum was for. She looked like a little kid who'd been denied candy. She then slammed her fork into my soup bowl, splashing hot broth onto my face. I'd had enough. I put my silverware down and stood up to leave. Chloe jumped to her feet, about to shout my name, but then she remembered she didn't know it. She had to sprint around me to block the staircase. What's your name? She demanded, arms crossed, her tone dripping with the condescension of a goddess addressing a mortal. I shot back. Do you deserve to know? Are you insane? She shrieked. But just as she was about to completely lose her temper, she seemed to remember something. Forcing her anger down, she pulled me back to the table and ladled a bowl of soup, placing it in front of me. Drink up. I made it just for you. There's a problem, I said, glancing at the bowl. It's too rich. I don't like it. It's good for you. Good for your kidneys. You're going to drink every last drop. So that was it. I knew there had to be a catch to her sudden kindness. It was all about my kidney. In her eyes, I wasn't a person. I was just a walking organ donor. I picked up the bowl, climbed onto my chair, and dumped the entire contents over her head. If you love it so much, you drink it. Maybe after you're done, you can give your own kidney to your precious Liam. With that, I shoved the heavy table, sending it crashing over. With a tremendous crash, everything smashed to the floor. Go enjoy being a cuckold. I spat, grabbing my bag to leave the villa, but then I heard Chloe's cold laughter. Very good, she said, her eyes like ice, as her goodwill toward me plummeted deep into the negatives. Her usual smug, mocking expression returned. Within 3 days, you'll come crawling back to me, begging for forgiveness. I stormed out of the villa, and as I slammed the door behind me, I saw her mouth the words, "I'll be waiting." System, what did she mean by that? I asked as I hailed a cab and headed for the nearest shopping center on Rodeo Drive. I'm completely in the dark too, boss, the system said, playing dumb. I let out a cold laugh. I didn't say a word, just manifested the orb again and waved my utility knife near it. You've run this mission with other guys before. If you're telling me you don't know her tricks, I might as well find some wet cement and make you a permanent part of a freeway overpass. The threat of being encased in concrete immediately jogged its memory. Well, it's possible that, if her goodwill towards the host remains at 0 for a continuous 6-hour period, small penalty is triggered. A small penalty? I asked, my voice dangerously low. If you can't be completely honest with me and be on my side, then I have no use for you. I made a move as if to follow through on my threat, and the system immediately spilled everything. The first 6-hour block triggers electric shocks. The second triggers permanent disability. And the third 6-hour block results in erasure. This damn system had no regard for human life. No wonder Chloe was so confident. She had the system itself acting as her enforcer. Both of them were bastards who deserved to die. Fuming, I went and got a decent meal at the mall food court. After I'd eaten, I used the last of the cash I had on me to buy 2 things for myself, a new designer coat and a nice watch. Then, I carefully brought my purchases back to the mansion. I needed Chloe to believe I was trapped by the system's rules, and by extension, trapped in her web. Then, right when she was at her most arrogant, I would bring her crashing down and make her regret she ever laid eyes on me. When I got back, Chloe had locked herself in her study, refusing to see me. Fine. I dragged a beanbag chair over from the living room and set up camp right outside her door, blocking her in. When I woke up, my new coat and watch were gone. In their place were 2 dirty footprints on the beanbag, leading directly to the now open study door. I could hear a man's laughter coming from inside. He didn't actually think buying you a couple of cheap trinkets would get him back in your good graces, did he? A man, Liam sneered. Who said you could touch my stuff? I yelled, lunging forward to get my things back. But both Liam and Chloe held on tight. With a sickening rip, my new coat was torn in half, and the watch was sent flying, shattering on the hardwood floor. I glared at Chloe, whose expression darkened. Yesterday, when she found you sleeping outside her door, her goodwill went up to 5%. It's back to 0 now. She thinks you're pathetic. Shut up, I snarled at the system. Chloe, however, continued her taunts. Finally realized you need to kiss up to me? A little too late for that. You shut up too. I shot back, clamping a hand over her mouth to stifle her smug words. I bought that stuff for myself with my own money. What are you, beggars, that you have to steal from people? You treat me like dirt and expect me to grovel at your feet. I was on a roll. When I saw Liam open his mouth to argue, I clamped my other hand over his. Both of you, shut up. The world fell silent. It was wonderful. As punishment, Chloe moved the transplant surgery up. By dawn, she had the entire medical team on standby. 30 minutes before I was scheduled to go under, Liam requested to see me. Based on every story I'd ever read, this was the part where the villainous rival comes in to gloat. Just in case, I had a digital voice recorder ready, along with 8 hidden cameras I'd planted. Well, Ethan, you didn't really think becoming Chloe's husband put you above me, did you? Liam said, looking down at me strapped to the operating table with a mock-innocent expression. But what can I say? Anything I want, my dear Chloe gives to me. Your money, your kidney, even your life. The funny thing is, I'm not even sick. I don't need a new kidney at all. And even though you're her husband, she'll only ever love me. Liam burst into hysterical laughter. He stood triumphantly by my gurney, flashing the Rolex on his wrist. I let out a short, harsh laugh. You're actually fighting over a woman like her? You really have no standards. So, are we doing this surgery or not? If we are, get the hell out. You! Liam's face flushed with anger, but it quickly twisted back into a grin. Oh, we're doing it. I want to watch them take your kidney, and your liver, and your heart. His smile turned predatory. You didn't think I'd let you walk out of here alive, did you? So that was his plan. He wanted me dead on the operating table. I stared at him coldly, realizing I had seriously underestimated the depths of human cruelty. I'd been so focused on Chloe, I'd forgotten all about him. Goodbye, you fool. You're just like all the others, too stupid to even deserve a glance from her, let alone stand by her side. The only one who belongs with her is me. Liam walked out with his head held high, like he'd just won the Super Bowl. The moment he was gone, I used the blade I had hidden to slice through my restraints and uploaded the video I just recorded. Within 10 minutes, it had exploded on Twitter. After all, Liam was a famous actor and Chloe was a celebrated CEO. The story of their twisted, incestuous adjacent affair was pure dynamite. It shot to #1 on the trending topics, and not even the fortune Chloe threw at it could bury the story. The shock and rage sent Liam into what looked like a genuine medical episode. His face went pale as he clutched Chloe's arm, begging her to start the surgery. Chloe, save me. I can't breathe, he gasped, collapsing into her arms, though he still had enough energy to shoot me a hateful glare. Click. I snapped a photo of his face and showed the screen to Chloe. He looks fine to me. In fact, he looks like he wants to rip my throat out. If you ask me, there's nothing wrong with him. Shut up. You don't get to speak here. Chloe raised her hand to slap me, but holding Liam threw her off balance. I, on the other hand, was completely unencumbered. I swung a hard backhand across her face, and before she could even register the sting, I delivered another one to Liam. There's one way to find out if he's sick, I said, revealing the utility knife I had up my sleeve. Let's just cut him open and take a look. That sent Chloe over the edge. With a furious scream, more than 30 of her bodyguards stormed into the room, surrounding me. Get him on that table. Do the surgery now. System, I said in my head. I need a favor. Of course, boss. Anything for you, the system replied eagerly. I asked if it had any cheat codes for a temporary but massive power boost. It said it did. A state called Blood Rage, which would make me nearly invincible for 1 hour. The cost, 1 year of my life. Do it. If I don't, I won't have another hour to live, let alone another year. The power surged through me. I threw a single punch at the nearest bodyguard, a mountain of a man, and sent him flying backward so hard he shattered the operating room door. I grabbed another one by the arm, flipped him over my shoulder, and slammed him down hard enough to break the gurney. This blood rage was incredible. Taking out 30-plus professional bodyguards was child's play. Once all the guards were down for the count, I landed a solid punch on Chloe, sending her to the floor coughing up blood. Clutching her chest, she started desperately crawling toward Liam. Chloe! Liam sobbed, tears streaming down his face, looking so heartbroken he could barely breathe. Hey there, I said, walking over to him and patting him gently on the head. He flinched as if he'd been touched by death itself, his face a mask of pure terror. He slowly, stiffly, turned his head to look at me. Tell me, I said conversationally, how much force do you think it would take for me to just twist your head clean off? Before I even finished the sentence, his eyes rolled back in his head and he fainted. Boring. I glanced at my watch. Only 10 minutes had passed. Hey, system, can I pause this effect? Yes, boss. Pausing it for you immediately. You have 50 minutes of blood rage remaining. Finally, a useful feature. Now, what to do with you two? I asked, tilting my head as I looked down at Chloe. Even with blood trickling from her lips, she shielded Liam with her body, glaring at me defiantly. Just a heads up, boss. If you kill Chloe now, the mission ends, and you'll be sent back to your original world. Is that right? And here I was, trying to decide on the most satisfying way to kill her. What a letdown. Still, I could have some fun. I made sure Chloe was at her most disheveled and pathetic, then forced her to her knees. I revived Liam with a sharp pressure point pinch and forced his head up, making him watch his beloved Chloe kneeling on the floor without a shred of her usual dignity. He let out a strangled cry, but it was cut short when I shoved a dirty toilet plunger over his mouth. His eyes widened in horror as he struggled, only succeeding in creating a stronger seal. Satisfied? I picked out an unwashed one just for you, I said with a cheerful smile. I even kindly turned Chloe around so the loving couple could get a good look at each other's pathetic state. Oh, by the way, system, I said, a wicked grin spreading across my face as I looked at Chloe. That 1-year lifespan cost. You never said it had to be my lifespan, did you? After the system confirmed this, I laid out my terms to Chloe. Either she paid the 1-year price, or I was going to take a piss on the floor and personally feed it to her beloved Liam. Chloe refused, descending into a fit of impotent rage, screaming for the system. Shock him, do it, cripple him, Erase him. I don't want to play this game anymore. It's not fun. I want out. I quit. For the first time, I gave her an icy glare. What about all those boys you had killed? Did they get a chance to quit? A wave of pure fury washed over me. I wanted to tear her limb from limb, to get revenge for the guys who came before me. Please, I'm begging you, sir. Please don't kill me. I'll give you the year of life. I'll give you my company. Just please, don't kill me. Her pleas went from stiff and forced to practiced and desperate. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face, like a terrified dog that expected another beating, her eyes wide with fear. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed, her forehead hitting the floor. What if I told you, I said, looking between her and Liam, that only one of you gets to live? I wanted to see just how deep this supposed true love really ran. Without a moment's hesitation, Chloe threw Liam under the bus. It was all his idea, she claimed. He was the one who instigated everything. She never wanted to play this sick game. It was Liam who thought it was fun. Is that right? I rattled off the names of 4 of my predecessors who had died at her hands. Enraged, I grabbed both her and Liam by the throat, watching their faces flush and then turn purple, watching them gasp for air, their eyes rolling back as they struggled uselessly. This feeling, having your life in someone else's hands, it's new for you, isn't it? Please, boss, let him go. The system pleaded gently in my mind. Liam has terminal cancer. He won't live another 3 months. Don't dirty your hands on him. I hesitated for a second before finally releasing my grip. They both collapsed, coughing violently. I ripped the plunger off Liam's face and shoved him right in front of Chloe. Give each other a kiss, and I'll let you go, I said. Chloe looked disgusted. Go on. You two love making out in front of me, don't you? What's the problem now? Kiss. Do it now. I want to see you kiss until your lips are raw. Gag. As Liam squeezed his eyes shut and pressed his lips to hers, Chloe looked like she was about to vomit. I watched the looks of pure disgust and hatred they exchanged and let out a derisive snort. So much for true love. I left Chloe and Liam behind in that operating room. Since their plan was to get rid of me quietly, they'd chosen a secluded, off-the-books surgical suite in a basement somewhere. With any luck, no one would find them for days. That was perfect. It gave me plenty of time. I went back to the mansion, found the marriage certificate, and confirmed that Chloe was, in fact, my legal wife. Then I got to work, liquidating every valuable asset I could find and smashing anything I couldn't sell. With a suitcase full of priceless jewelry and watches, and a debit card linked to an account with over $200 million, I caught the first red eye out of LAX. By the time a battered Liam helped an equally battered Chloe back to her mansion, all they found were 4 bare walls. I'd even smashed the marble floor tiles. This is the best he can do, Chloe said with a dismissive eye roll. But when they arrived at her second home and found it in the same state of ruin, a flicker of unease crossed her face. Still, she forced a smile and patted Liam's hand. It's fine. We'll just go to one of the other houses. They'd actually made up. I watched the scene unfold on the system's holographic display and sighed. It didn't matter. As the old saying goes, when poverty comes in the door, love flies out the window. When Chloe and Liam finally realized I had not only trashed all of her properties and cleaned out her accounts, but had also used her company as collateral to take out a massive $200 million loan from the mob, her arrogance finally shattered. Soon, my phone started blowing up with frantic calls from Chloe. I'd let it ring a few times, smiling, then decline the call. Next came the barrage of iMessages. I sent a single reply, "You should probably save your money, pauper." Then I blocked her number and deleted the conversation. Being rich was amazing. I ordered everything on the menu, bought houses on a whim, had more cars than I could drive, and bought out entire designer collections. As a broke college kid who'd never had anything, the first thing I did when I got rich was act like I'd never been poor. New money, no manners. I did whatever I wanted. The first time I went to some exclusive VIP club in Miami, surrounded by every possible vice, I thought of my best friend, Chris. He loved beautiful women. It was a shame he wasn't here. I would have filled a whole room with them for him. I could have pressed stacks of cash into his hands just to see the look on his face. The thought made me a little sad. System, I asked, is there any way to bring someone here from my original world? In principle, no. However, if 2 people can correctly answer 1,000 questions about each other, thus forging a bond of true souls, they can then choose which world to inhabit together. We can do that. That's easy. Forget 1,000 questions, we could answer 10,000. When can we start? That procedure requires 1,000 points, boss. Your current balance is 0. If it were a family member, it would only cost 500 points. Are you sure you don't want to consider family? I don't have any family. He's the only one I've got. We grew up together in an orphanage. We're all each other has. We've always relied on each other. I have to bring him here. I want to give him the good life he deserves. So how do I earn points? Is getting on Chloe's good side the only way? I asked. The system seemed to think for a long moment before it finally found a loophole. Well, technically, you can also earn points by reforming villains, preventing them from causing harm, and thus maintaining world peace. So Chloe is the villain, I realized. I knew the main female character couldn't be that evil. So all this trouble, all those guys you sent, it was all just to try and reform her. I was starting to worry about this system's intelligence. Isn't the ultimate goal world peace? That is correct. Then why waste time trying to reform anyone? Why not just kill them? If I kill all the villains, there's no one left to do evil. World peace achieved, right? I suppose that's also a valid interpretation. Yes, that would work, the system said, sounding hesitant. Perfect. I immediately started planning Chloe's assassination. As long as her death looked like an accident, I could exploit the loophole. Should I use some obscure poison? Arrange for a falling air conditioner to land on her head? Maybe rig her car to fill with carbon monoxide while she's sleeping in it? A gas leak explosion? The thought of killing Chloe filled me with a newfound motivation. I stayed up all night and came up with 800 different viable plans to ensure she would be blown to bits and her ashes scattered to the winds within 3 days. I never realized I had such a talent for this. I was smugly reviewing my list of murder plots, about to pick one, when the system delivered some shocking news. Due to my extreme potential for destructive behavior, I had now officially been designated as this world's primary villain. Well, what do you know? I was the bad guy now. While I was still processing this, the system spoke again. In order to redeem you and protect this world, the system will now summon an individual from another world to act as a stabilizing influence and heal your troubled heart. And in the next instant, my best friend appeared right in front of me. Ethan, Chris, we grabbed each other in a fierce, excited hug. That night, I conjured up a life of pure luxury for him. Cars, mansions, cash, women. We were living it up when Chloe finally tracked us down. Turns out I'd accidentally used one of her credit cards, and she'd immediately hopped on a private jet to find me. I thought for a moment, then told Chris to close his eyes and point to a random spot on my list of murder plans to decide Chloe's fate. But before he could, the system let out a piercing shriek. If she wants money, just give it to her. I have an unlimited black card right here. Please, boss, don't kill her. If you become a murderer, all my progress will be reset. All right, I get it. Now that I'm the villain, I'm too important to fail. I casually took the black card from the system, then asked for a second one for Chris. Only then did I close my notebook of death plots and look toward the entrance, where Chloe was being held back by my new bodyguards. Let her in. Give me back my money, she shrieked the moment she was through the door. Or I swear I will take you down with me. Chloe had clearly been through hell. She was still wearing the same outfit from the day I left, but it was a shadow of its former self. The expensive buttons had been pried off, the once pristine fabric was hopelessly wrinkled, and her usually perfect hair was a mess. She had dark circles under her eyes, which were shot through with red veins. Good. Seeing her this miserable put my mind at ease. The last thing I wanted was for her to be happy. Guards, restrain her. At my command, a dozen men swarmed in and pinned her to the floor. I adopted the same smug, arrogant expression she'd worn when we first met and looked down at her. You're not getting any money, and you're not getting the satisfaction of killing me either. I clapped my hands, and one of the top lawyers in the country appeared at my side, ready to represent me. Chloe's eyes filled with despair as she recognized the man who had been her own unbeatable attorney, now firmly in my camp. The money, I know I can't get it back, she finally sobbed, her forehead pressed to the floor. But please, I'm begging you, save Liam. She explained that his kidneys were fine. It was his heart that was failing. She begged me to find him a donor. And why on earth would I do that for him? I asked, looking at her as if she were a complete idiot. Then, at least divorce me, Chloe pleaded, her voice trembling. Liam doesn't have much time left. I don't want him to have any regrets. For the last few months of his life, I want to be his wife. I don't think so. If we get divorced, it won't be as legally convenient for me to torment her. So no, boss. Her turn to villainy was triggered by this forbidden love. If you grant her the divorce and let them be together, it could resolve her core conflict. You'd get a massive amount of points. Draft the divorce papers. We're signing right now, I suddenly declared, signing my name faster than I ever had in my life. Could I have the ring? Chloe asked, looking down in shame. Don't have one. I snapped the pull tab off a soda can and tossed it to her. Love is all you need, right? This is all you two deserve. Chloe was silent for a long time before she finally whispered, I'm sorry, I hurt her, but I didn't forgive her. I don't care, I said coldly. Then, a thought occurred to me. I asked the system if it was possible for Chloe to complete missions to earn a cure for Liam. The system told me no, that was beyond its power. But Chloe didn't know that. Liam eventually died, broken by poverty and his illness. Chloe, believing the system could help her resurrect her dead lover, voluntarily subjected herself to mission after mission in other worlds, desperate to earn enough points. She died in countless ways over and over, until one day she finally broke. She was sent on a mission, transmigrating into the body of one of the men sent to save her. The names she had never bothered to learn before were now seared into her memory, each one a fresh torment. Wearing the faces of those boys, she was forced to watch as her beloved Liam spewed venom and set cruel traps. She had to witness her past self manipulate and destroy people until there was nothing left of them. This was her penance.